some of them work from home for the whole period of 2 years, and that means that they don't see anyone, and some of them are very scared, so they even isolate themselves more. So it really affects a lot of mental health, I would say, in terms of isolation, fears, also like health problems. Because again, even if you isolated, you still have to go do grocery shoppings. You still have to somehow interact with the world outside, and you can get it anyway. So even those who were like staying at home and not doing anything at all, some of them got COVID, and it was not sometimes not an easy one. So it made people even more scared and worrying about the others all the time. So it's not that you can get it, it's also like your family members and people out there. I think my first like real realization of, oh, it's something very different from like normal, was when in the very beginning, I got a message from a friend and she was sick, or her kids were sick. And my first intention was to go and help. And then I realized, no, actually now the way how I care is I'm not going there. I'm holding myself back in a way. I'm trying to stay as far from people as I can, because I was traveling at the moment and I was the dangerous one, so to say. So yeah, that part is really huge in terms of social interaction and support. To be honest, the majority of my clients, I think, got like these bad consequences, and isolation, and constant fears, and anxieties, and all the worries. And again, it's constant stress. You live in a constant stress, so you're always tired, you always fear, you can't get rid of all the anxieties, and you wake up anxious. uh, yeah, we work on stress management, but it doesn't really help, because you manage the stress all the time, like 24/7. You can work on it, and you can deal with stressful situations, but it seems like, yeah, a lot of people are living in a stressful situation all the time, so it doesn't go away. It's not that you can go somewhere, experience some increased level of stress, and then forget about it, and then go home and relax. You never relax. We're always opposed to the fact that it's not safe. It's not as it was, because again, life is unpredictable. Shit happens. We can face difficult life events, scary life events, but they're like localized in time, and then it's over and you can recover. And here it's a little bit like you can never recover. So I would say the most effect was on the group of people who were like not really social, but not really introverted. People who didn't benefit from staying alone completely and getting rid of contacts they didn't want to, but people who couldn't make enough meaningful contacts. And with COVID, it stopped. For example, people who just moved to the Netherlands, for example, and they didn't have time to build their like social circle support system here, and they're away from where they used to live or where they had this support system. So that kind of broke for them. They could not go back home easily. Mm-hmm. And again, this feeling of lack of freedom. Before, even if something bad was happening, we all had this mind set of, oh, okay, if it's too bad, I just fly back home, I have my support. And now it's hard. Flights are getting canceled, you can't see your relatives, you can't get support, it's not so easy. Again, everything changed. The ways how we normally cope with stress and problems, anxieties, are very different now. So that's, I think, something we should consider, because normal ways are not working anymore. I would say, and it's weird to say in a sense, because it's limiting us to the week even. So you don't plan for long. You don't, you don't try to protect yourself in the long run. You just observe what's going on. this thing where, oh, for now, right now, here now, I'm okay. My relatives are safe. That's what I have for this week. And then the next week can bring something else, and then I'll deal with it. Normally, we still have the bigger time perspective, kind of. And now it's a little bit like, yeah, okay. A little like when you work with trauma, you think, okay, right here, right now, I'm okay. And what if I'm thinking my flashbacks, they're not real. They are just effects of traumatic experience I had. So again, a lot of checking of reality, and right here, right now, I'm fine. And the next step, okay, if something happens, that's what I'm gonna do. And also having a bit of a like first steps. If this happens, I call this person. If I can't breathe, I call ambulance. Those like very clear steps for us to know about ourselves and our relatives as well. What can we do as a first step? Because if you know the first step, then it's easier to let it go and then figure out along the way. Simple actions, not big, not something huge. And again, the expectations, managing expectations. We normally talk about, yeah, you should manage your expectations. But again, when it was normal, we had a chance to expect things or to plan them. And this Dutch thing to plan things way in advance, where your holidays were planned in a year or something. Now we don't have this luxury. So we have to have multiple variants, multiple ideas. Okay, if that doesn't work out, what can I do instead? How can I then still have a nice evening, even if I'm not allowed to go out and eat out somewhere? So all those balancing and yeah, just trying to enjoy what you have, what you can, and be creative in terms of, okay, we're not allowed to go out and socialize. How can we one of my clients at some point told me, yeah, we're not allowed to go out on a date, so we decided to go in. They really created this restaurant setting at home, and did go out, not out, but in. So yeah, those creative solutions. It's a strange balance. On one hand, it's accepting what's going on, what you cannot change, because that's something we learned, I guess, from COVID. We were really helpless changing things. Things were happening to us. So now it's one part of what's going on is just accepting, not in terms of agreeing, but just it happens. We cannot ignore it or pretend it's not. But the other thing is to do what you can. Again, small, tiniest things. Do have to accept it. And the other thing, we should do something at least. Because if you think of trauma, the most traumatizing thing is not being able to do anything at all, feeling in danger and helpless. So if you manage to find a way to be active, to do things, to do something meaningful, something you believe might change it, it helps. It depends. It depends. If it's just telling and relieving it without any support or any proper like circumstances, or yeah, how you deal with it, it might be or might make it worse. But if it's relieving with a support in safe circumstances, that's how you work with trauma. Actually, you do go back, you try to make sense out of what has happened, realize that there was no fault on your side, you did nothing wrong, it just happened, you had no power to fight it or to change it. So just being there together in a way. So yeah, and also step by step. If it's too much, you stop there and then you go back and you look around, you realize, okay, I'm safe right now, it's not the same situation anymore, and I can talk about it as well. So yeah, talking is important. If you can manage to stay reasonable and not to exaggerate it and not to increase each other's fears, not sharing, oh, it was so bad, oh, I'm so scared, oh, it will be even worse, we all die, that's not helpful. But if you can share it in a reasonable way, saying, hey, I felt that way, I did this, I see how you experience that, or what could you do else to help or support, those ways where you just share and you understand you're not alone there, then it can be helpful.
Yeah.
All the support groups to know that we are not alone here.